Good afternoon. This is Media Center Ukraine Odesa. I'd like to remind you that you can watch us online on the YouTube channel or on the Facebook page. You can also ask your questions online. Just scan the QR code that you can now see on your screens. And now we are going to discuss why it is so difficult to rename the town of Yuzhne in the Odesa region. And our speaker is Olga Godovenko. Good afternoon. Welcome to our media centers. On the 9th of November, there was the session of the Yuzhne City Council, where the people's deputies failed to vote for the renaming of the town. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for inviting me today to tell about what is really happening about the renaming. I would not say that they fail to rename. They just offered their own initiative to address the National Commission on the State Language to exclude the city of Yuzhne from the list of the cities to be renamed. This is the opinion of people's deputies, the members of the Yuzhne Municipal Council, and all of them supported that decision. And I'd like to tell a bit about the renaming process and the stages that have already been covered for the last 3 months. At the beginning of July, the working group on renaming was established. I was one among the members of the group. I'm the head of the Yuzhne television. That's why my mission was more about informing the residents of Yuzhne about the renaming process. The working group was established following the order of the mayor of the city after the National Commission on the Standards of the State Language published the list of towns and cities and villages that should be renamed. In Annex 14 contains the city of Yuzhne, and it was recommended to have a new name. That was the reason why the working group was established. And contrary to Zaporizhzhia, that incited the discussion in the society, and Zaporizhzhia was excluded from the list of cities and towns to be renamed. So when there is a Russified name that should be brought in line with the standards of the state language. But in our case, the Commission recommended to find a new name. That's why we cannot just translate Yuzhne, which means southern, in Pivdenny. So that issue should not have been considered from the start. After the working group was established, the criteria were announced, including meeting the legislation about the ban on propaganda of the empire policy, being in line with the state language standards, unique name, and the second stage, the opinion of the local population, and that should be a consultative voting. The geography should be taken into consideration, and also it should be in line with culture and history, and also the rules should be followed as for names of cities. And there should be some scores. It was offered to the residents of Yuzhne to send their proposals. There were 168 names in total, and 12 were selected according to the criteria, and there was no name Pivdenna. Why is it so? Because the name of Pivdenna was not in line with the geographical position of the city, because Yuzhne is located in the north of the Black Sea. The port Yuzhne, or Pivdenne as it is called now, is the northest port in the Black Sea. According to the assessment of the experts that were invited to our TV channel to explain and discuss the names that had been submitted, and we also asked them about the name of Pivdenne. And the experts said that it was of empire origin. Why is it so? When it comes to geography, this city is in the south from Moscow. That's why those experts whom we invited did not recommend to include Pivdenne into the list of the into the short list of the names that should be discussed further on. But just a day before voting, where the citizens of Yuzhne were supposed to vote for one of the 12 names in the short list, there was the meeting of the commission. And here it should be noted that around 15 active members of the working group voted for the selection of the names for the short list. But at the final stage, there were 21 persons, and mostly they were the members of the Yuzhne Municipal Council. Following the initiative of the mayor of the city and the commission that for the first time met with all its members, voted to include Pivdenne into the shortlist. That's how Pivdenne was added to the shortlist of the names. Around 80% of votes among those who voted were in support of Pivdenne. And why Pivdenne was selected? A day before the meeting of the working group, the mayor addressed the National Commission on the Standards of the State Language, and during one day, the National Commission provided its conclusion that Pivdenne could be considered among other options for the renaming of the city of Yuzhne. But I have my personal opinion about the National Commission on the State Language Standards. This is a very important institution, and the Commission is responsible for important issues. But when I met with the representatives of that Commission, as well as other stakeholders involved in the work of the Commission, it was found out that the Commission was appointed to monitor the process of renaming, but its powers are rather limited. That's why the National Commission can be work at the school teacher. So they just check the errors. That's what they do. I do not want to offend teachers now. I'm not saying that the teachers are not important. But now we have the case when an important institution does not take into consideration toponymy and renaming of cities in the wide circle of experts. So they can provide conclusion, but they don't have powers to make assessment with regard to names of the cities in the state cadastre. And in the list of the National Remembrance Institute, Yuzhne is not mentioned as the one that could be considered as of empire origin. That's why they don't refer to the National Institute to learn about their professional opinion about translating the name of the city of Yuzhne into Ukrainian. So, and we could have several such cases in the Odesa region. For example, in Belodnestrovsky district of the Odesa Oblast, we already have one Pivdenna city, as well in Kharkiv Oblast, and we have 8 cities or towns called Yuzhne in our Ukraine. That's why there is the unique criteria of uniqueness is not met. What name do you support personally? I do not support something. For me, it is very important for the name to meet the criteria that have been established within our work. Were you involved in the public survey? Yes, of course. And what option did you vote for? This is my personal choice. I cannot comment upon that. So you voted for some name, so you prefer some name. I can't say that I prefer it more. I can say that out of the 12 names that have been, that were shortlisted, there are 8 names that are rather unique, and they could serve well as a name of the city of Yuzhne. I do not have one priority, and I believe that the working group was rather successful in shortlisting the names, and I also believe that the residents of Yuzhne who offered their names, their options, were involved in the process, and this is really great. And I believe that those residents of Yuzhne were rather creative and really concerned about the future name of the city. And this is why we are different from those settlements that also had such procedure on their territories. We have, for example, Yuzhno-Ukrainsk. They have the historical name Hart. They are more lucky than we are. And so these 2 names were discussed. We also have Chervonograd in the Lviv Oblast, where they also have a historical name that was submitted for the consideration. But we have now a huge variety of options, and this is a unique situation in the territory of Ukraine. And generally, I can say that the ongoing processes are very positive, and this is a really great trend. Do you have any questions to the public survey? No, no questions to that. The representatives of the working group did everything they could. I have the only question, and this is just my personal concern, my personal opinion. I didn't like the fact that the administrative resource was used at the last meeting of the working group to shortlist the name of Pivdenny as well. But this looks more like a manipulation, because throughout the whole period, people's deputies did not attend the meetings of the working group, but they attended the last meeting, and they just did everything possible for the name of Pivdenny was included. So, and this means that The working group that worked over 3 months and looking for better options did everything in vain. So at the very beginning, the name of Pivdenne could have been included, and we should not have waste our time and the type of experts that were involved in the process. I'd like to say that the city of Yuzhne is uh, like has information platforms to reflect the renaming processes from the very beginning. We have a group on social media which is called E-Name of Yuzhne. We had a lot of broadcasts dedicated to this process. We invited different experts who provided their professional opinion, and the residents of Yuzhne also took into consideration opinions of experts to offer their options without the option of Pivdenne. And also our journalists asked people in the streets, and first people were in more support of Pivdenne name, but 2 months later, we saw the change of opinion of those people whom we asked at the beginning. So they took into consideration the expertise of people, and they just opted for other names. And those experts that you invited to your studio, did you have there people who were in support of Yuzhne? No, no one could supported the city of Pivdenne. Maybe those experts were biased somehow. We in That's why I asked you about the name that you support. I don't have such a name. I like 8 names that were shortlisted. According to our survey about the preferences of the residents of our city, that was the name of Prichernomorsk. And when it comes to criteria defined by the working group, the name of Prichernomorsk is unique. This meets the criteria of geographical location of our city because we are on the coastline of the North Black Sea. This is also in line with the nature and character of the city of Yuzhne, but the only issue here is that we have the city of Chornomorsk. And there could be some parallels, and it could be an impression that we are under the umbrella of Chornomorsk, and no geographical position could be taken into consideration. And this is the only problem that we saw in that name. As for Yuzhne or Pivdenne, there had been no active discussion about that. That was more artificial. Could there be some options when Yuzhne will be named as Yuzhne? This should be assessed by the National Committee or Commission on the standards of the state language. They have created a precedent where the name of the city was shortlisted for the consultation voting. And this initiative of leaving Yuzhne without changes is logical with such support, because the professional opinion is a weak position of such an important institution at the National Commission. And I would like to stress once again that, to my opinion, this is not the lack of expertise of people working in that commission. It's just that the Verkhovna Rada, when providing powers to the representatives of that commission, limited those powers significantly. So the Commission can just check misspelling and errors. And as far as I know, the mayor of your city, Mr. Novatsky, is in favor of Pivdenny name. It is difficult to say if he likes it or not. I think that he announced about that publicly. He publicly supported that name of Pivdenny, and at the last meeting, he said that he was going to include the name of Pivdenny into the list. And at the last meeting of the Yuzhne Municipal Council, he did not initiate the inclusion of the name of Yuzhne. That was the initiative of several members of municipal council, a representative from Solidarność, supported by Odesa. And that was the initiative of the mayor of the city, was to address the National Commission to provide their professional opinion about the possibility to leave the name of Yuzhne, of Pivdenny, and actually today or tomorrow the relevant address will be sent to the National Commission on the state language standards. And after that, following the plans that were announced at the last meeting of the Municipal Council, the people's deputies will gather again to discuss the opinion of the Commission, National Commission. And did you make the TV survey about the opinion of residents? We did it before Pivdenny was shortlisted as well. And most people back then supported Prichernomorsk. Were there any TV surveys? No, there is no sense. There was the consultation survey to reflect the processes. Almost 3,000 residents of Yuzhne participated in that survey, so this selection is enough. That's why there is no sense to conduct additional surveys. Now everything depends on the reply of the National Commission. And that could be like when? According to the law, they have 30 days. But it is unknown how long it can take. But if there will be no session before the meeting of the committee of the Verkhovna Rada, then the committee will define by itself the name of the city of Yuzhne. So it is highly probable that there will be no renaming this year. No, but they were not supposed to rename this year because all the processes started at the beginning of July. And so it started like 6 months ago, and this is during 6 months the city should identify the name or several names. So this option is also possible, and it was confirmed by the State Language Standards National Commission that there could be several options. 1, 2, 3, 5. The Commission could assess several names and to recommend one of it. The procedure should take 6 months. So the deadline is January, when Yuzhne Municipal Council, the self-governance body, can make its proposals with regard to the renaming and also to provide all documents to explain why a specific name is proposed by that body. If by the 26th of January 2024 they failed to submit their proposal to the Verkhovna Rada, the Verkhovna Rada can select the name of the city basing on its own consideration. And there were such precedents, yes, Horishny, Plavny, and Kropivnitsky. Thank you very much for joining us today at the Media Center Ukraine Odesa. We will just monitor the situation with the renaming of the city of Yuzhne, and we'll continue today at 1 p.m.